Hi, and thank you so much for purchasing a 4th Street Creative template. This is the video walkthrough for the Rosedale Postcard. And when you get your thank you document, you're going to be directed to a link that looks like this, and you just hit on Use Template, and that will bring the design directly into your own Canva account. Once you're in your own Canva account, the first step is always to go to File and make a copy. And what that's going to do is make a copy in your files on your home page in Canva. And you want to do this because if you ever take a few left turns or you design something that you don't like and you're not exactly sure how to bring it back to the original state, this is how you do it. You can go back, you'll always have a master file in your original documents that you can go back to without having to go through the entire download process again in Etsy. So again, it's just File, make a copy, and then you'll always have a master file there ready for you in case you just want to start from scratch. Okay, once you've done that, you are free to start designing, which means it's time to upload your own listing files, your own listing photos into Canva. And you do that by heading over to Uploads, upload an image or video, and finding where the file folder is on your computer and uploading it. Now we've already uploaded our own image files or listing files here, so I'm not going to go through that process, but this is what it's going to look like once you've uploaded your files. They're all going to be ready for you right here, and then you can start just plugging them in. So I like to always put a really nice, like the image that provides the best highlight of the home, or something that will intrigue people to flip this card over to read more about it. So this is a gorgeous kitchen shot, and that's why we chose it, because if you see this kitchen, it looks homey, it looks inviting, it looks clean, it looks like a model home, and it might just get somebody to flip the card over to read more about the property. So you want something that's just as beautiful for your own listing. So I'm going to take this photo and hover it over this, and it should pop into place. The reason why it's not, and if it ever doesn't pop into place for you, it's because the image has been locked, and you just want to head over to this unlock button, grab your image, hover over, and it should pop into place like that. Once it's popped into place, you want to make sure to lock it. And the reason you want to make sure to lock it is because if you have another image that you're placing over it, or let's say an icon that you want to move over to another area of the image. Is it locked? No, okay. So let's say I wanted to add an icon to my image. Once I add one image file over another in Canva, what happens is it tries to knock out the one behind it. So in order to prevent that from happening, you always, once you're satisfied with where your image is, you lock it into place, and then I can drag another image over it without having that knockout effect. Okay, so I've brought this photo in, but I might not be satisfied with how it's sitting in the frame. So if I double click on the photo, I can actually move it around within the box to see where I'd like it to sit. And I think I would like a little bit more of the floor rather than the ceiling, just to show that gorgeous floor. And so I moved it up slightly, and now it looks like this in the frame. So this is good. I like this. It's hard to read the text now though, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to a lighter color and see how that works. It's working a little bit better, but now it's hard to read over here. So let's see if I were to make it a light gray. That's a little bit better. In a case like this where there's half of the photo that's dark and half of the photo that's white, what I would do is I would extend this box out. Okay, now it's covering the just listed. So we want to highlight this box, right click our mouse, and send backward. Okay, and that's going to reveal the text behind it. And then I'm just going to make this white. Actually make the box a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is what you would do if it doesn't fit. If the writing just doesn't, if it's not popping against the picture, this is a great option. You can always put a box behind that text, and then you can really read the text. It's blocking a little bit of the photo now though. I don't like that, so I'm going to highlight the box, head over to transparency, and make this about, let's say, 50%. So I can still read the text just fine, but I can also see behind, which is really important. So that's what I would do in a situation like this. If you have a nice, brilliantly white photo, the original will work just fine. These are the optional icons that are provided, If you don't want to use them, you can simply highlight the box and hit delete on your keyboard, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to keep them in. What you can do in order to move them all as one is highlight them with your keyboard. You hit Shift on your keyboard, select one box, hit Shift, select the second, Shift, select the third, and that will select all of these together, and you can move them as one image. Instead of having to move them separately, you can move them around to wherever you'd like as one. Now this isn't going to work if you want to change the orientation. So some people might want to change it so that they're at the bottom of and that's where you would keep them separate. If you want them in a horizontal rather than vertical alignment, and that's how you do that. And if I wanted to make it horizontal rather than vertical, I would do that as well. So in this case, I'm going to make sure that's centered. Okay. In this case, there is a transparency on this, and if you don't want that transparency, this is the transparency button. You hit it, and you can make it 100% so that you don't see any of the background, and these icons will pop even more. Heading to the back, of course you want to change your property information, so you just double click on the box and change it to whatever you'd like. And this is a good time to note as well that if you have your own brand fonts, if you have fonts that you regularly use, you double click, you make sure that it's all highlighted, you head over to the font box and you choose your own font that you normally use. On to the second side, the same rules apply with the photos, so I'm going to go over to my Rosedale folder, and let's say I would like to change one of the shots to this one. You just pop it into place, and it's super easy. If you just hover over, it will pop directly into place. You double click on the box and you just move around until you get the right orientation. It's as simple as that. I'm going to leave that photo in there just for the sake of this tutorial and show you what I did. So in this photo, I did not like that this plant was sitting here, so what I did was I just grabbed it by the corner and just really cut that room up so that I was showing just what I wanted to show, which was just a little bit of the plant and more of this white space. So you can do the same with your own photos. If there's something that's just not really that visually appealing, you can always just crop it out just by moving it around in the image box. Great. Okay, obviously you can change this. This is a double colored box, so what that means is I highlighted half of the text and made it one color, and then highlighted the other half and made it a different color. So this is going to work for you as well. If you need to change the color of this to be all white, for example, if there's a dark image here, you can do that here. Here's where you would talk about the home, give a little bit of a description, and the details. If you don't want to do this, if you don't want to provide any information about the home, if the icons on the front are more than enough for you, you can always delete all of these and add another photo here. So I would delete every single one of these text boxes and then maybe add this photo. Click on it once to add it to the document and then resize it as you want. And maybe do something like that so that there's an added photo to the document. I would bring it a little bit up like this. Yeah. So now you can have more images. You can also at any point hit T for text on your keyboard to bring up a new text box, and then you can add things about each room, like bright and sunny. Duplicate. Warm and cozy. Okay, these are just ideas to change it up, so if you want to use this postcard more than once, there are ways to make them slightly different while still maintaining the same look and feel so that people recognize your branding, your marketing. Custom tub, right? Make sure things are lined up. That's how you would do that. Now on to the info banner. You want to obviously change your name, your designation, your property, your URL, all your personal information. This is where you would drop in your own logo, and I just want to show you how we would do that if it's a logo that's a little bit, if I have the other one. I don't. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, if you have a Royal LePage logo, for example, it's a little bit longer, or Remax logo, it's longer versus this square look. So you're just going to want to extend the box a bit to be rectangular, and then you're going to want to drop your logo into here. And once you do, it will be placed perfectly. If it's not placed perfectly, as you can see, this is cut off now. I can't read the entire real estate section of it. So you're going to want to move that up. And then take the box itself, the bounding box, and make sure that it all fits. And then you can shrink it however it looks best on your document. This is where you'd put your photo. So if I need a new photo put in there. Same thing applies. You double click to change the orientation of the photo in the box. Okay, this is an 8x5 postcard. So when we go to download, we want to make sure that it's not a PNG file because that's an image file. We want to make sure it's PDF print, high quality, multi-page document. Okay? And if you're printing this on a home printer, you do not need crop marks and bleed, but because this is a postcard, I'm assuming that you're sending it to a professional to have printed. So you hit this crop marks and bleed and then download. What the crop marks and bleed is, I will show you quickly. You go over to File and Show Print Bleed. It's all of this extra area around the document where this dotted line is. This is where the printer is going to cut the document. So you want to make sure that all your information is in those lines. And then so when we go to download, I'll show you what that looks like. PDF print, high quality, crop marks, download. And you just want to double check the document to make sure the crop marks are not cutting off any of your text or anything that you need to have visible once this is cut. So if you see this line here, it will cut right across and all that above it will be cut off. Okay, so just make sure that nothing of importance is close to these crop lines. Okay. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video walkthrough, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to head over to 4thstreetcreative.com/tutorials for a full list of our articles, resources, and video walkthroughs, and happy designing!